Hello and welcome back to part 4 of Introduction to VR Development with Unity and the Meta SDK. I'm Varun, and in this video we're going to look at how to set up UI, Unity's UI to work with the rig that we have just created here. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is, as you can see, we already have the camera rig set up here with some basic interactions, teleportation, and the camera rig itself. If you want to know how to set this up, you can go back and watch the setup video in part 1 and part 2 for the interactions. So if you've done that already, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do here to start setting up the UI inside this scene is we're going to go and make a few changes to our rig here that we have made using the building blocks. So I'm just going to expand this and go into the controller interactions. And you can see the left and right controllers here. Let's expand that. And if you expand that, you should see a game object called controller interactors. You can expand that as well. And this is where we're going to be adding our ray interactor. So the idea is we're going to add the ray interactors first and then make a few changes in the scene and then start setting up the canvas. So let's add the ray interactor on our rig now. We're going to go into packages here in the browser and search for controller ray interactor. And you should see it here. It's just called controller ray interactor and it's a prefab. If you can't find it, just make sure you click and have the packages option selected here so that it shows you the results from within the packages folder. So let's grab this and drop it straight into the left controller. Let's grab another one, and under the right controller in the controller interactors section, we're going to drop it here. We're going to select both of these and reset the position. And once you do that, you can see here that you have the rays in the scene. Let's close that, and we're going to do the next thing. We're going to go to the event system game object here and remove the standalone input module. We don't need this. You can see I've already added a pointable canvas module here, but we're going to add it again. I just removed it so I can show you. So you're going to search for the pointable canvas module and just add that on the event system game object here. And now we're just getting started. So let's go ahead and start setting up the canvas. I'm going to create a canvas in my scene. I'm going to add a panel on this canvas so I can see it a bit better. And as you can see, the canvas is really huge. So we're going to go ahead and rescale this. So the first thing we're going to do is make it world space, reset the position to 0, and let's make it 0.004 maybe. And if we go down here, you can see the canvas is nicely positioned in the scene. We could just make it a little bit smaller, maybe 0.003. And in order to set up this canvas in the scene, there's a bit of a setup process that we need to follow. And this is a standard setup process we do. The first thing we're going to add here is something called a pointable canvas. And this is basically configuring our canvas to be compatible with the pointable canvas module. Let's assign the canvas game object to the canvas field here. And then we're also going to add another component here, and we're going to call this is going to be called the ray interactable. And these are all Oculus inbuilt components, so you can just add that here. And then we're going to have to add two game objects under our canvas. So let's create an empty game object, and we're going to call this surface. And here we're going to add a component called plane surface, also an Oculus component. I'm sorry, plane surface. So there we go. And then we're going to create another empty game object here, and this is going to be called the interaction area. And this is going to be a collider. So let's add a box collider to this. And you can edit this collider by clicking on the button here. And then you can see the collider size needs to be adjusted. So let's just adjust the collider size. So I'm just going to make it 1000, maybe 500 on the Y, and 0.01 on the Z. And you can see that it roughly covers our canvas surface here. We can just go into 2D mode and align this so that it roughly matches up our canvas here. Let's save that. Let's go back into 3D, and once we've added the box collider and adjusted the area, we're going to go ahead and add a collider surface component right here on the same game object. And then of course we're going to assign the collider here to the collider field. Now let's go back to the canvas game object, and as you remember, we've added a ray interactable component here in the beginning, and we're going to just assign a few of these empty fields here. And the first one is the pointable element, and this one is just going to be the pointable canvas. You can just drag it and drop it here. And for the surface, we're going to add the surface component here. Cut. Continue. So now we're just going to go back to the canvas game object on the top. And if you remember, we had added the ray interactable component to this canvas. And you can see a couple of empty fields here, and we're going to assign them now. So the pointable element is just going to be the pointable canvas component that we've added here. So I'm just going to click that and drag it right into this field. And for the surface, we're going to add the interaction area game object. And that is the collider surface which our ray interactor is going to use in order to interact with the UI. Now on our panel, let's go ahead and add some components. I'm going to add a drop down. I'm going to scale this up to 2. And remember, scaling up UI in this way is not particularly a good idea, but I'm doing it now just so you understand. So just so we can look at this a little faster. Let's also add a toggle, scale that up. Let's position that there. And let's also maybe add a slider in the scene. And let's scale that up also. And we're just going to put it right here. So once we've set up all of this, the only thing that remains is to test it out. So let's do that now. You can see my controllers here. and you can see the rays coming out of them, the controller ray interactors that we added a while ago. I'm just going to turn and teleport to this location, and now I can just interact with the UI just like that. So once you follow the basic setup process that I've shown you, you're going to be able to add any UI element to this canvas, and it's going to be interactable through your controllers. So once we've done this, we can also set up the same sort of interaction on the hands as well. So the tracked hands. So you can interact with the UI using your hand with a pinch gesture. And for that, we're going to go into our rig here. And this time, we're going to go into the hand interactions section, not the controller interaction section like we did last time, but the hand interaction section. Let's expand that, and you should see the left hand and the right hand game objects here. Expand both of them, and this is where we're going to add our under the hand interactors of the left and the right hand, we're going to add our hand ray interactors. And for that, you do the same thing. You go into packages and you search for the hand ray interactor, and that should pop up right here, and it's a prefab that comes inbuilt. We're going to just drag this and drop it into hand interactors left and hand interactors right, and then we're just going to save that. Let's test this out now. Okay, testing out the hand interactors in the play mode. You can see the canvas here, and I'm in hand tracking mode now. So when I move my hands, you're going to see um, that I see the cursor on the canvas. So I can just do a pinch gesture and interact with the UI. So like I can pinch, I can interact with the drop down, the toggle, and also the slider. And that is the simplest way to set up UI interactions using the Meta SDK for your controllers and your hands. If this video helped you out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord server or comment them below. And I will see you again with a new tutorial. See you next time.